It's paint and players. It's colorful and in your face. Paintballs, paintball players, the best in the world, gathered in Orlando for the World Paintball Championships. And we're set for Game 3 of the opening round. Let's go to Fred Schultz with the teams.
All right, I'm here right now with one of the best teams in the world, the All-Americans from Pennsylvania. How you guys doing, man? You all pumped?
Ready to go! Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Billy, real quick, maybe you can give us a little insight how you guys can approach this out there. You've seen some of the games and you know what's going on. So.
Well, we watched the first games. We had some surprises. So this is a tough field out here. What we plan on doing is staying alive basically early on in the game, dumping a lot of paint, okay? The mistakes that are being made is people aren't moving together.
All right, I'm here right now with Banzai Bandits, who are going to take on the All-Americans. You guys all pumped for this one?
Oh, yeah.
It sure sounds like you are. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you're going to approach this game going against these guys.
We've decided to push it up on the right-hand side straight from the off. We're going to try and go a little bit further than everybody else has done so far. We might lose a man on the break. If we don't, we're going to be in a good position. I'm going to take them across the field and we're going to take them down by the numbers.
There's the opening whistle. All-Americans in red on your right. Banzai Bandits in black coming from the left in the blue side of the field. The sprint for position.
And they're coming fast.
Lorenz Dickerson digging in up front for the All-Americans.
Judges are checking.
And right away, Chris Morden is out of there for the Banzai Bandits, number 10. Immediately, a 4-0 lead for the All-Americans. Phil Ham behind the double bunker. A lot of paint being thrown around early here. And there is some paint splat right on the Banzai Bandits. Ian Duthie. Let's see it again, Jer.
The All-Americans were able to come out and get really good angles. Duthie gets hit from the near tape line. He's out. All-Americans have a two-man advantage.
Let's go to Fred.
Looks like the action's pretty hot and heavy out there right now.
Well, we said we were going to push it hard on the break. I came a long way not to fire any paint, so we better be playing tomorrow, I tell you.
Yeah.
The object of the game, eliminate your opponents. 4 points for each one you do, and then capture the opponent's flag. You get 10 points for pulling it, 50 more for hanging it back at your flag station, and for every minute under 20 that you do that, an additional 10 bonus points. You can get 200 if you capture the flag and hang it quickly. Pete Robinson of the All-Americans behind the bunker there. In fact, Jerry, one of two Englishmen on the All-Americans.
That's right, and on the all-British team, here's Charles Kane.
There is the other Englishman on the All-Americans, Phil Ham, and he appears to be hurt. Greg Malashevsky helping him into the bunker there. What is the problem with Phil?
Phil looks like he's in pain. He's doubled over.
Zone 8.
So Malashevsky providing cover for Phil, who apparently is out of commission for the moment. Let's get into that bunker now and find out what's going on with Phil Ham.
My knees popped.
My knees popped, it sounded like is what he said, Jerry. That has got to be very bad news for the All-Americans.
Very painful. Phil is one of their spark plugs. Excellent player. And if he's out of commission, it's going to hurt them.
Right now, he is still surviving. No points racked up as we take a look at Jack Wood, a halfback for the Banzai Bandits on the other side. They trail this game 8-0 with the All-Americans ahead.
Okay, can you call a medic up? Get in, Greg, get in, Greg.
Asking for a medic as Malashevsky ducks paintballs, and here we see Chuck Hench, the defenseman for the All-Americans, standing in the back of his zone.
Obviously, John, if there was an emergency, life-threatening situation, this game would stop. But in paintball, there are no timeouts. Phil is sitting there. We're going to keep on top of it.
He's shot. He's going to stay in the game. He's alive. He's going to stay in the game. He's just going to wait. Will he stay?
But Lorenz Dickinson's not going to stay. LD out of there, and that makes it 8-4, the All-Americans lead.
Medic! Messed up his knee.
For the Banzai Bandits, Steve Horn on the left, Phil Cummins on the right. And here in pain, Phil Ham.
4-3 bunker. He's hanging on my left.
Greg Malashevsky with him.
My left or right?
Communicating with his teammates. Chuck Hench back in the defensive area for the All-Americans. They lead it 8-4.
Here's Leds, captain of the Banzai Bandits, calling out direction.
In the front quarter of the blue side, as you can tell by the white and blue stripe bunkers, solid bunkers in the back quarter of each side. White in the midfield area. Good opening in the middle so far, Jerry.
Well, the Banzai Bandits that made it up to the front were eliminated real early. Lorenz, who made it up to the front with the All-Americans team, he was eliminated. And Greg Malashevsky has to stay back with Phil Ham.
The 1996 World Paintball Championships are brought to you by Paintball Sports Magazine. From pickup games to tournaments, novice players and champions alike read Paintball Sports Magazine. Both teams hunkered down on the early going here in Game 3 of the first round of the World Paintball Championships in Orlando. Hello, everybody. I'm John Nicholson, along with Jerry Braun, managing editor of Paintball Sports Magazine. Jerry, the third-seeded All-Americans against the British and 10th-seeded Banzai Bandits.
British and 10th seeded, but the All-Americans also have 3 British players on the team. They are 2 great teams, good advancing teams, but also good counter-punching teams. I expect a very tough game.
So we do have the international flavor on both clubs. In fact, paintball is getting very popular all around the world.
It is now in Central and Eastern Europe, including Russia. In fact, we've had 2 teams traveling from Russia to international tournaments. We have it in the Middle East, we have it on the Pacific Rim, we have it in Latin America. Paintball is indeed worldwide. I think you could say we're painting the world.
Maybe you can say that, Jerry, if you want to, not me. Back to the action now. We'll find out if the all-English or the mostly American team has got the better of it. Let's go back to the field. There's the 5-minute horn with the All-Americans leading it 8-4, and what that means is halfbacks now may cross midfield along with the forwards. Defensemen can't cross till 10 minutes in. If the game goes the full distance without a flagpole, it's 20 minutes.
And John, it looks like this game may well go the full distance. The All-Americans are back in a defensive position. You notice the bunker that Phil Ham is lying in with the arrow. The Banzai Bandits have a little more of an offensive capability, but not much. It's a long ball game.
With the wind at their backs, their defense can get up and walk in the back quarter there with the solid blue bunkers. Not much chance of being hit with a really long ball. There is Charles Kane walking right in front of his own flag station, surveying the field. Jacko Parsons for the Banzai Bandits peering around the bunker for the All-Americans. Greg Malashevsky now is leaving Phil Ham, who is injured.
Just going to try and get into this game, if I can move.
Like I said, John, there are no substitutions in paintball, and there are no timeouts. Phil's got to do the best he can.
Jacko Parsons, who, by the way, is a martial arts instructor there, looking for an advantage for the Banzai Bandits. Disadvantage for the All-Americans, the sun going down, and Pete Robinson in shade looking into the sun. Tough to see, Jerry.
Tough to see, but the All-Americans are holding their own. This is still a long ball game.
There's the injured Phil Ham, still holding his own, leaning back, trying to get an angle behind that red and white striped bunker. Let's find out now how this field is set up and why. Before the game, Fred Schultz talked with one of the officials who's also a field designer, Paul Sadler. Let's go to Fred and Paul.
Paul, maybe you can tell the people out there a little bit about the course we have out here. To start with, what are the bunkers made of, the barricades I see out there?
Okay, the barricades we use are made of high-impact plastic, secured to the ground with rebar.
Oh, so basically if somebody slides into it, it does have some give so they can move.
Yes, that's the design.
Okay, the placement of it, I see quite a few of them out there. Is there a special way they were placed, or are they just thrown out there?
Yes, each side of the field has the barricades placed identical so that no team has an advantage.
So it doesn't matter either side that you get is going to be the same, is that right?
It's exactly the same.
Excellent. I see that they're color-coded also. Is there a reason for the color coding?
Yes, that corresponds to the team and also the placement within the field, with the white barricades being the 50-yard line.
50-yard line, as we think of it, as a midfield line. In fact, it's 250 feet from each end of this 500-foot-long field. The field 200 feet, or approximately 83 1/3 yards wide, in case you're keeping score at home. Well, you may not be keeping track of those statistics, but the score of the game remains 8-4 in favor of the All-Americans as we take a look at Charles Kane in the back quarter, the defensive end for the Banzai Bandits behind the solid blue. And George Davison for the All-Americans trying to get some kind of a viewpoint, peering through the bunker. Jacko Parsons just taking a stroll in his defensive end. How long can the standoff go on? We are winding down toward the 10-minute mark where everybody for both teams is free to cross the center line. But who will have the courage to make the first move, Jerry?
Somebody will have to make the first move if there's any hope of a team capturing a flag and a lot of points going into round 2.
Phil Ham still with us, and we'll be right back. There's Leads, Anthony Ledbetter, captain of the Banzai Bandits, who trail 8-4. And Phil Ham for the All-Americans, down, injured, but still in the game. We are winding toward the 10-minute mark when anybody can go anywhere, though I doubt that Phil is going anywhere. Jacko Parsons moving up for the Banzai Bandits.
Somebody has to make something happen. Like you said, John, Jacko is just the person to do it.
As we look down the barrel of Phil Ham's marker, there is the whistle signifying 10 minutes left to go in the game. Time very important here. The way it works in this tournament is if you win in this first round, you advance. If you lose, you go out. But when you go to the second round, the points from this game are added up with the points you get in the second round to see if you advance from there. If there's no flag hang here, if this turns out to be simply a question of how many opponents are eliminated, you go into the second round with a very small total of points. You're going to need a lot to get on to the finals from there. So you want to score as many points as you can here and in the second round because only the 3 highest total teams will move on to the round-robin final.
And that's the problem for both teams. The Banzai Bandits are in a basic defensive position. Their front players, their frontline players have been eliminated. By the same token, with LD down and out for the All-Americans, Greg Malashevsky not moving up because he had to stay with Phil Ham, the All-Americans are also in a basic defensive position with only one front man at the far tape. Each team, by long balling, has got to create gaps if they have any hopes of winning. Gaps in their opposition line so that they can move through.
Only one All-American eliminated so far, only 2 Banzai Bandits. This is the 3rd game of the opening round at the World Paintball Championships. The Turtles have moved on to the second round. They're out of Utah and thereabouts. And the Heat from Houston have moved on. One of these 2 teams also will move on. But at the rate we're going, as we say, the team could move on with a pretty low score. The Bandits, by the way, Jerry, again, an all-English team, would have come a long way to play one game if they can't get this one.
This is the World Championship, John. It's a single elimination first round. A challenge. Hopefully for them, they're up to the mark.
Behind the blue and white striped bunkers toward the front, nobody. This would be the red and white striped bunkers. On the far tape, only one All-American over there. Otherwise, they're back a good distance from midfield. Waiting, waiting. This has been called a game of chess with real men carrying paintball markers. This one looks the most like it we've seen so far.
Take it back, in the center! Kick it back in! Kick it back in! Rodney, they're pinching me on both sides! You better get one of them right.
George Davison for the All-Americans, letting his teammates know he's being pinched, looking for some support here. The slightest edge could turn this one. Phil Cummins in the back for the Banzai Bandits. Behind the solid blue, trying to pick somebody off. On the opposite end, Pete Robinson on his belly for the All-Americans.
And taking heat, John.
Look at those paintballs smash against the bunker.
He's back in, Bill. He's back in.
A reload here, each player carrying as many as 2,500 paintballs in canisters.
Time is winding down. The teams are still in a static defensive position. Each minute that goes by means 10 fewer bonus points that can be earned.
As we take a look at Don Martin Yoxall in a defensive position against the solid blue bunker for the Banzai Bandits. Indeed, because every minute under 20 you hang that flag in, you get 10 bonus points. At this point, though, you have to wonder if anybody's going to hang a flag at all. The officials getting about as much action as anybody else, checking for paint. They haven't called anybody out in, it seems like, forever. Look at that, splat up against the bunker. And a quick duck in for the All-Americans.
You're right, John, but it's not for lack of throwing paint. Each team is raining heavily on the other.
And there is a move up by Bill Gardner for the All-Americans.
The captain is still deep in his own territory, though, John.
And that's exactly the tenor of this game, Jerry. A move up, still within the defensive end. Don Martin Yoxall for the Banzai Bandits, tossing some paint over to his teammate Phil Cummins. As you say, Jerry, a lot of paint being thrown around, though that's certainly the most we've seen tossed at one time. Bobby Rose, the ultimate judge, checking things out and checking the time. We are winding down. Another reload for the All-Americans, who still lead it by just 8-4.
And we can see just how much paint has been rained on the All-Americans. Pete Robinson, a lot of splatter on him. No direct hit. He's still in the game.
These paintball markers, by the way, are semi-automatic, meaning you've got to pull the trigger each time that you deliver a paintball, so you've got to have a strong trigger finger. Greg Malashevsky back in the bunker with the injured Phil Ham for the All-Americans. Somebody has got to make a move soon as the time is winding down. And we will be right back at the World Paintball Championships. The All-Americans still leading it, but still by a score of only 8-4. The Banzai Bandits trailing by 8-4. Certainly don't want to go out and back to England in that fashion, Jerry. Do they have to make the move?
Both teams should think about making this move, because regardless of who wins the game, winning with that score and going into round two is not going to mean very much in that kind of a hole.
There's a move by Bill Gardner of the All-Americans backward. There's a line of Banzai Bandits now in their front quarter. 5 men across, I can count. Or is it 6?
They're pretty well all up there. They're communicating. I think that they're going to try and power one or the other of the wings. I agree with you, John. They don't want to go home on an 8-4 score.
It's a long trip, and while the All-Americans might not want to win 8-4, they'd rather do that, I think, than lose. So they have the slight advantage. The officials, I suspect, are thinking something's going to happen soon. And there goes Leds, Anthony Ledbetter for the Banzai Bandits. Moving up closer to midfield, and then Jacko Parsons on the opposite side. Rain of paintballs coming toward Jacko. And the check. Did he get in safely? Still splatting up against that bunker. For the moment, Jacko survives. On the far side of the far tape, Banzai moving up. Here goes Jacko again now to midfield behind the white bunker. And this time, the All-Americans have gotten him. Jacko Parsons made the move and is picked off. Jack Wood crossing, taking paint from Leds and heading for the far tape. We go to the near tape. Fred Schultz with Jacko Parsons.
Jacko, that was a great move you put on it there. What happened, buddy?
We lost too early. 2 players we didn't want to lose. They're not doing anything. They're going to sit and wait for us. We've got to try and do something. I'll try to come down there, try to get some crossfire in.
And Billy Gardner out of there now for the All-Americans. Jacko going out made it 12-4. Now it's 12-8. Paintballs flying now as the Banzai Bandits try to hold off the All-Americans.
Bill Gardner walking out. If you notice, the Banzais are really trying to create a soft spot on the near tape line of the All-Americans. They're powering and sweet spotting those positions. trying to just sweep that area with paint.
And apparently, Jerry, they sweet spotted Steve Horan. He is out of there for the Banzai Bandits, giving the All-Americans a 16-8 lead. And there in the middle of the screen, Leads is also out, Jerry.
And your two forward players for the Banzai Bandits are now out. The All-Americans have the wings, and they're starting to move on them.
Greg Malashevsky moving up on the right for the All-Americans and taking fire.
And there's Pete Robinson up above the bunker, making his presence felt. It's all or nothing now.
It doesn't appear there's going to be enough time for a hang here, Jerry. We are running right down to zero as Rodney Squires heads up on the left.
Rodney's hit. Rodney's out also.
Adam Gardner moving up on the right wing for the All-Americans to midfield. Rosie checking his watch at midfield. There's the final horn. Adam Gardner hit just after the horn. He will be all right. But in this game, there is going to be no flagpole, no flag hang. It's going to be decided strictly on eliminations. How many All-Americans survive? How many Banzai Bandits survive? Right now, the All-Americans would appear have won the game, but the officials will check all the surviving players to be sure, in fact, that they should be counted as in and for their team. Phil Ham still down behind the bunker where he's been almost the entire game. He is still alive for his team.
Down but not out. Greg Malashevsky, though, had to stay with him during the crucial early moments of the game, and that may have cost the team any offensive capability on the far tape.
So the officials will check everybody as well as checking Phil Ham's condition. They will count up the points and find out if indeed the All-Americans have won it, and we'll be back with the results in a moment. The ambulance coming for Phil Ham, whose team is indeed victorious, and Fred is with Phil.
What happened as you're coming in here, Phil?
Well, it didn't happen when I came in. I was crouching low, just looking left and right, and then it must have been this sand or something, and my knee just gave up. It happened 3 years ago. I thought it was up to strength again. But
were you twisting, or what was the
twisting?
Deal?
As I twisted, the cruciate ligaments went last time.
It did. So you didn't do it sliding in. It was
no. I was here. I'd been playing for a minute or two, and it just happened.
Well, I like the way the ref came over to ask you, and you told him to keep the game going.
Oh, yes.
Pretty admirable there.
Well, I didn't think I was going to be able to get back into the game, but after about 5 minutes, the pain wore off, and I'm back into it again.
Well, we've got an ambulance on its way for you right now.
Stuff. I need it big time.
I'm sure you're in a little pain here right now, but we appreciate your time here, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you just take care of yourself. Get better.
Thank you.
Right.
The 1996 World Paintball Championships have been brought to you by Westgate Resort. Over 1,000 suites in the Orlando area, minutes away from all area attractions. And by Paintball Sports Magazine. Game sites, stores, equipment, special events, the first and last word in paintball all over the world. The officials counted one more Banzai Bandit, one more All-American out, so the All-Americans win it 24-16 and move on. Our next game, Avalanche from Colorado and Nebraska. They're seeded number 9, taking on Nemesis out of Florida, seeded number 4 in Game 4 of the first round. Everybody heading for the trophy at the World Paintball Championships in Orlando. For Fred Schultz and Jerry Braun, this is John Nicholson saying thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.